Hey, good morning, y'all. It's Ned over at MyPhilippineDreams.com. And today is December 4th, 2014, and once again we are down at the waterfront in Dumaguete along the boulevard. Just got some footage of a pretty cool sunrise. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a winter hat and a long sleeve t-shirt. Basically, there's a major storm coming in. They're calling it Hagupit, Hagupit. And at one point, up to actually yesterday, possible track heading directly towards Dumaguete. So what I thought today is we'll talk briefly about, we'll talk briefly about the possibility of natural disasters in the Philippines. It's one of the negative things. It's one of the things that you have to keep in mind if you're planning on moving here or living here, because these things can happen quite quickly. The issue at hand is that the Philippines is in the ring of fire. It's a seismically active area which can cause all kinds of natural disasters. Basically what you're looking at are earthquakes. I've experienced only one earthquake since I've been here, thank God. It happened at Robinson's Mall not too long ago. And it was during the film Godzilla. And all of a sudden everybody started jumping up and running out of the theater. And the movie wasn't that good, but I didn't think it was that bad. So I asked Michelle, I said, what's going on? And she said, earthquake. And what I had thought was the subwoofer was actually the seismic activity. So these earthquakes can happen really quickly. There was one that occurred in Bohol not too long ago, caused massive amounts of property damage and loss of life. Also, you're dealing with volcanic activity. Volcanoes can go off anytime. Mount Mayon, as a matter of fact, Mount Mayon is known as having the most perfect crater in the peak or cone in the entire world, and it's not that case anymore because it's been blowing up as of late. I think last year 16 climbers were actually killed when the volcano went off. I think they were actually asphyxiated by the sulfur that was being emitted. So you have to deal with that. Volcanoes, earthquakes. You also have to deal with typhoons and what they call super typhoons. This is what happened in Tacloban a year ago. And these things, again, can happen very quickly. And even though they track them, these tracks can change very quickly. And when you're dealing, with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people along coastal areas, it's very difficult to protect them. It's very difficult to evacuate them. So again, these things can happen very quickly. Another problem that the super typhoons and typhoons bring in torrential downpours. And if you're in higher elevations or even lower elevations, this can cause massive amounts of flooding, and what's worse, mudslides. That's basically when entire sides or entire sections of mountains collapse from the water and the mud, and it just slides down and destroys everything in its path. And actually, as you're driving south and you go past Mount Salinas, you can actually see where some mudslides have taken apart entire parts of the mountain. That's something to keep in mind. If you're a homeowner, if you're one of the guys that are like, hey, I'm going to build a house in the Philippines, I have this dream of, retiring there and building this beautiful seaside home. There is no real homeowner's insurance in the Philippines. So if you're going to sink 6, 7, 8, 10 million pesos into a property and build something up to your specifications, you could lose it quite quickly. And again, these things can happen. Some areas do have some limited forms of insurance, but you got to look at it this way. Being on the ring of fire, what insurance company is actually going to offer, compensation to entire areas or entire towns or entire cities that lose everything in the blink of an eye? So that's something you have to keep in mind at all times. These things can happen very quickly. Sendong, I think it was 2012. They weren't expecting it to be that bad, but what happened was it stalled out over Mindanao, and it dumped an incredible amount of rain in a short period of time. And what happened, especially in CDO, Cagayan de Oro, the floodwaters rose very quickly. It was the middle of the night. What a beautiful dog. It was the middle of the night, and unfortunately there was massive loss of life due to that. So again, it's not all puppies and rainbows here. Paradise does have a price, and it can happen very quickly. And these are just things to keep in mind to keep yourself safe. And to, when you're planning things, I always recommend that people rent. Rentals here are so inexpensive that it really doesn't make too much sense to invest a large amount of money into a property and a house, especially when you first get here. put off buying anything like that for at least a couple of years. You know, you might think you have the right person and everything's great and rosy and puppies and rainbows, but you never know what's going to happen. And again, property cannot be in your name, and you can lose it very quickly if things turn south. So, another beautiful morning here. Another day in paradise, as I want to say. So we'll leave it at that. Just something to keep in mind. Until next time, this is Ned over My Philippine Dreams. Take care.